Good evening. A bit of a mad dash to get set up. Where are we at? Yeah, there we go. How's it going? Last week, what happened last week? We finished the advanced React patterns, which is cool. So it's always nice to start fresh with a new module, especially because some of the patterns at the end of it were getting a bit too complicated for me at face value. So it's cool, it's nice to learn something new and something that pushes my ability, but at the same time it's nice to cool off after a while. Performance is something that I always seem to want to get to and never do get to. So that's cool. I'm actually going to get to spend some time dedicated to improving performance, or at least analyzing it and finding out what I can do to make my app faster. At the end of the last session, I downloaded the repository and got everything set up. I watched the welcome before this video started, just as I was getting set up, which is cool, just introducing what we're going to be working on. So for the main part, there's actually not going to be too much coding here. A lot of it is just going to be analyzing the dev tools. So I'll need to make sure that is in reach. Let me just make sure I got my tools set up. That's why I don't do that. Cool. And I think I'll spend a lot of time opening this as like a dedicated window. Yeah, cool. All right, there's an intro video here. It's like 4 minutes long. So, well, I'm on 1.5, so like 3 minutes long. So I'm just gonna watch that and then crack on with the first exercise, I guess. Cool. Oh my god, what the hell is going on with my hair? Okay, code splitting. Let's fire this up in a dedicated window. Let's allow our location. That's cool. Is there any way to move the globe? Yeah. That's awesome. Nice. And then let's add the dev tools, but you can't see that at the moment, so let's file that up here. So we have the network tab, and if I grab this, what is new? Cool. And we're going to need coverage for this apparently. Hit the reload button, stop getting coverage. That's cool. What's the best way to do this? Let's put it here. So at least you can see the top, like half. That's cool. That should be enough. Yeah, that should be better than the other way around. Okay, what are we doing? Code split acts on the principle that loading less code will speed up your app. Say, for example, we're building a complex dashboard that includes the venerable D3 library for graphing data. Venerable. Harsh. Your users start complaining because it takes too long to load the login screen. Loading it on demand. Lucky for us, there's a built-in way to do this with JavaScript standards. It's called the dynamic import, and the syntax looks like this. Yep, I was using this recently. That's cool. Hey, I actually did free plug, I suppose. In here. Did I change it? Yeah, that's cool. I was doing dynamic imports for the entry point. Which is cool. React has built-in support for loading modules as React components. The module must have a React component as the default export. And you have to use the suspense component to render a fallback value while the user waits for the module to be loaded. Cool. Let me make sure I got the code up. Okay, import is React. Is this the same thing? Smiley? Oh no, this is just an example. Okay. Exporting the default smiley face in a file. React.lazy. Import this. And the fallback for while we wait for that to load is going to show a loading. Cool. One great way to analyze your app is the coverage feature of the developer tools, which we have, which will be here. Is to load the code on demand. For this one, you'll need to open the final in isolation. Ah, I got you. Okay. Because we'll need the production build. Otherwise, it'll be slow as balls. Remember to watch the Webpack chunks load when you click Show Globe. Your objective is to have the network load those same chunks so they're not in the bundle to begin with. Here's a quick tip. In the network tab, there's a drop down for artificially throttling your network speed. It defaults to online, but you can change it. Also spend a bit of time playing with the coverage feature of the dev tools. That's going to be a bit of a pain to stream because it's watching this window. Let's see if it plays up. I don't have that many extensions, to be fair. Yeah, should be fine. Okay, so move this import. Go. And then use React Lazy to create a globe component, which uses a dynamic import to get the globe from the globe module. Cool. So const globe. Just going to use React's lazy. There's going to be a function. We're going to import. Oh, I should have grabbed that import. It's the file, right? And then React suspense. Let's grab this in here. Ooh, do I need to capitalize that? And then I'll need a fallback, which will be a function which returns a div that says loading. One great way to analyze this is coverage. So, that's going to be the final. I mean, doing it in the browser tool should be fine, right? Because that's just going to show the solution. So let's open this. Let's do F12 and then actually just going to grab that import again. So we get two globes. Wired. So let's start with this. That's fine. I think that's fine. That's not going to do anything because we're not lazy loading. Let's have a look at suspense. Yeah. Okay. I got away with doing that. There we go. Cool. So this is just default. What did it say to pay attention to? In the network tab, we can slow it down. Spend a bit of time playing with the coverage feature of the dev tools. So we have coverage here. Let's reload. Nothing's here. Just want to clear that for just now. I'm going to hit this. Okay, so that's a big old chunk. 75% of that chunk has not been executed yet. Cool. Interestingly, when I do show it, I'm guessing that's gonna increase the percentage. Okay. So, let's reload. Let's take that out. Let's lazy load the globe. Let's add our suspense in here. Still 75%. Would have thought that would have went down. Give me 1 second. Some admin. Oh, back. Okay, so that coverage didn't do very much. Let's bring that right down. Really? Okay, let's see if it's actually working. So the first thing we can do is let's throttle this, slow it right down. That's already loaded. You're not on the isolated page. Ah, no, that's fine. I am. Guessing that just means it's being throttled. Find unused JavaScript and CSS with the coverage tab. Shipping unused JavaScript is a common problem. For example, suppose you want to use this. instrument coverage. Okay, so there's chunks 3 and 4 coming in. Let's just go back to the regular, clear this, and then refresh. There's 4. Okay, so we can see that coming in normally, but what would be a good way to check? So we're loading this in. I'll show what 53 is. There's 4. So nothing should change here because everything's loaded in. Yeah, cool. So nothing changes here, which is cool. And let's put lazy stuff back in. Let's refresh. Okay, so that's 858. The main chunk is 858. Let's bootstrap. Cool. So that's a big 1 megabyte file, which is probably the D3 library. So that's 1.1, and that's 850. Let's go back to the original. 1.1 and 850. Okay, so that's unchanged. Main chunk. Pardon me. Vendors, maybe? $7.240. Now this will be quite slow because I'm still in the dev version of this. So, is this the lazy version? So the lazy version loads 7.8 megabytes of resources, increasing to 9 megabytes after clicking this. Let's put it back. A hard refresh. Yeah, so this loads the full 9 on load. I'm not sure which chunk it's attached to, but if we lazy load it, then it loads it as 2 separate chunks. So that's cool. So we save some time off our initial load and a couple of megabytes off the cellular data. And that's throttled at 3G as well. So. That's cool. That makes sense. What I don't get at the moment is what this coverage tool is meant to do for me. So if we're back to normal here, right? So let's actually put the suspend stuff in. Let's close that. Stick that in. That looks like a bunch of Chrome extensions. We'll just ignore that. A bit worrying that is still... Oh, because it's network conditions. Whoops. Okay. Functions are not valid as a React child. Something's fucky. What did I forget to do? Lazy load globe, which will have a default export. Show globe is going to be true. RB. Oh. Tired. Do I get that again? That was weird. The fact that that had a 36-second load time makes me a little bit suspicious. Cool. So we're back to 6 seconds, which is a bit more manageable. And do I get the warning? I do. Fuck. Suspense. Functions are not valid as a React child. What have I done wrong here? It's not a fun. That's probably it. Functions aren't valid as a React child. So just return the element. Where were we? Here. Yeah, Barbara. Found out I had the alert box muted last week. That's why I didn't hear your sub. But if you were to sub again, then I would definitely hear it. Sure, at least got Amazon Prime. What is this coverage thing doing? I don't get it. It's cool that you can lazy load. So let's get everything in. Simulated 3G connections. So we should see a loading text here. Yeah, there we go. And then when the extra chunks load in, there we go. Gives me the globe. That's cool. I'm just going to crack on and hopefully I learn what the coverage tool does as we go. You may also want to try running the production build so you can see what the sizes are like post modification. Cool, let's try that. Just cancel that. Let's run a build. I'm just going to extend this. You should be able to see what I'm doing. Oh, I forgot I moved the panels. So I'm sitting over the top of the browser. So I can just bring this down. Is this frozen? There we go. You're gonna tell me where you put it. Oh, actually, I can just give me the sizes here. Damn. So it's dropped it from 108 bytes to... Wait, what? Oh, it's dropped it by 108 bytes. Serve? Do I have serve? Shouldn't take too long. And then serve the build folder that I just created. This is a production build. What you would deploy and what end users are probably going to use. So we should be able to go to localhost 5000 AE. I'm actually just going to keep this on light theme because then I'll know that I'm on the production. Let's open it in an isolated page. Let's bump this. Do I still have my tools here? Nice. So it was 9 megabytes on the development mode. So if we're here. So we start with half a megabyte. And then if I load this, yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of like dev tools and things in there, but it's dropped from 9 megabytes to half. Cool. So then if we simulate a 3G connection, that should still be reasonably fast. Get the suspense working, and then the globe pops in. Cool. Let's keep that up for just now. And I'm just going to get rid of this, and let's go back to the dev build. Extra credit eager loading. I'm just going to let this load back up. It's great that the users can get the app loaded faster, but it's annoying when 99% of the time people are using the globe. Wouldn't it be cool if we could have the globe start loading as soon as the user hovers over the checkbox? So if they mouse over or focus the label for the checkbox, we should kick off a dynamic import for the globe. See if you can make that work. It doesn't matter how many times we call this, it will only load the module once. That's good to know. Okay, cool. So What do you want me to focus the label? Let's get rid of this. Open on an isolated page. Let's bump this up. And let's see what the label is. So background color to tomato. Cool. So anytime we hover over this, let's just put that event in first. What were the conditions? Mouse over or focus. So I need 2 events. I need one mouse over and an on focus. Handle eager load. And we're going to create a function. We're just going to handle that eager load. It doesn't. This receives an event, but I don't think we need to do anything here. I think. Okay, so I need to import this and store it somewhere. Can I store it in state? I don't see why not. So let's have a globe and set globe. It's to null to begin with. We're just going to call this load globe. Did I get a freak? Oh no, it's just because it's unused. Okay, so whenever we mouse over or focus the label, should have this. Let's just make sure that these are both working. So console log working. Yep, and then go. So both the conditions are met, and then we're gonna load globe. That's poorly named, so let's just put it back to set globe. I want globe. Wonder if I need to capitalize that. That's gonna freak because they have the same name. So let's call this eager globe. Let's call it. Oh man, my keyboard shortcuts are not working today. Let's call it lazy globe. So our lazy globe is going to lazy load our globe component, and then we're going to set that in state. What is the benefit of doing that? Well, first of all, let's check it works. Just, those console logs are still there, so let's just enter the cache. Oh, I didn't save it. That's fine. App is not defined. Idea. And I have no idea who that ended up there, but let's get rid of it. Cool, so the console logs are gone. Let's go back to the network tab, clear all the nonsense. So we're back to 7.8 megabytes, and then if I mouse over this, it should increase it. it did not. Would have expected that. Is that what the coverage is for? It's going to show me that that function is executed. We've got this initially. Why can't I delete that? Does anything happen when I offer this? Doesn't look like it. Did I miss something? So if they mouse over or focus it, we should kick off a dynamic import. Set in state feels incorrect. It does give you a component back, to be fair. So this should be null to begin with. And then if I mouse this, yeah, that's cool. It is loading it in. It's a lazy loaded component. So it is doing it, which means it should automatically be there. Why does that re-render though? It doesn't feel right. This is going to come down to referential equality, I think, because it's an object. Does globe equal lazy globe? So this should initially be false because it goes from null to an object. Let's go to this. So it's null to an object. So they don't equal each other. That makes sense. But now it's been loaded, so globe shouldn't change. Yeah, it's still false. It's because it's referential equality. So that doesn't feel great because it's going to trigger a re-render. It's saved on performance because it's going to lazy load this big component. But it's going to trigger a re-render every time I do it. Yeah, I didn't think that was right. Store the model data for it. I've never seen that done before, which makes it feel wrong. I wonder if I can actually just do... See if that does anything. So it's null. I'm just going to refresh that. Yeah, so we're null. Okay, that's not working. But it wouldn't have triggered a re-render. Maybe that is what I want. Doop. And this should equal a lazy loaded component. Yeah, I think that's worked. And then cool. Let me take that debugger off. The dog going nuts. So this part makes perfect sense, but what is the best way to put that back into the component? That's intentional. Yeah, store the model. Oh, that's just regurgitating that. Thought this was going to take 2 seconds. What's the difference between loading it here and here? So that will just... really very helpful. Just use some sort of hidden prop. The hidden component will not block rendering and will only load after everything else is interactive. Monster update. I'm doing some similar features at work and I feel like I shouldn't bother. I get it to preload. What do I need to do if it focuses? Maybe I don't need to return. Dynamic import. Root based, named exports. So it all seems this, all the examples are done outside of here. So this is going to return the default export to this component. So instead of storing the component, let's do load globe. Set load globe. And then, and my fingers are hitting every key imaginable. Okay, so we shouldn't initially load this. Let's remove this for now. And then let's say const globe. Load globe is true. Lazy load it and return it. Otherwise, no. That kind of feels like the same of what I'm doing here. But the difference being, whenever I do that, I'm gonna set load globe here to true. Nope, there we go. Let's just tidy that up. And those were false to begin with. False, that is true. Let's revert that to false. Cool. So present that to be true. We should trigger a state update. We should rerun this. So if I log globe, don't know why I always hold the shift key too long. Let's check the console and reload. So that should be null, and then I hover it, triggers a state update, which gives me my lazy component, and then that should give me the globe. Yes, that's how we do it. That's how we do. Go. So whenever we focus or hover on this label, I can remove this because I now know the target area. So if I mouse or focus on that, let's try that with the focus as well. That should come in. That will set the load globe to true. State has changed, so it will trigger a re-render. Globe, we'll see that this is now true, so we'll execute this. And it will return the globe component to this value. And then it will return the globe in here. While it's doing that, we're going to use suspense, and the fallback value while we're waiting for that to complete is going to be this little loading thing. There we go. So just to make sure it's working, let's throttle it. We get the loading, we can see suspense is here. And then we're in. Spin out of a globe container. Suspense is awesome. Nice. Is there another extra credit on this? Oh, there is. Magic comments. It's actually 9 o'clock, so I'm going to take a 5-minute break and then come back and kick on with the Webpack magic comments. Oh, I didn't even see. Hey, Gregor. Can I start by learning React, though? What do you mean? Actually, give me 5 minutes. I'll be back in 5 minutes, and then I'll answer your question. I'm back. Remember me. Can I start by learning React instead of learning about the performance? Yes, I mean, you would kind of need to you kind of need to do that anyway, right? You need to build something before you can refine it. Do you mean on this stream or just in general? No worries. I actually have. So this course, this EpicReact course, actually starts with the very fundamentals of React. Can I actually just share the channel? I think this will work. So if you want to start, that's from the very beginning. And that basically works through every tutorial that I've worked through so far. So this is what, session number 14. So it starts off with like the fundamentals, then it goes into hooks and then advanced hooks. I just finished the advanced React patterns last time. And now we're on to performance. So if you want to start at the beginning, there's always video number 1. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. He's a great teacher, so it's nice to follow along. The only thing is you can't see any of the video content, so you can follow along with like the code examples and things that I've shown, but you need to purchase the course if you want to watch the actual content. All right, let's close all this out. I'll probably need that. I think these are the same thing, right? Yeah, let's close that. And then that's the videos. Okay. Extra credit 2. Webpack magic comments. If you're using Webpack to bundle your application, then you can use Webpack's magic comments to have Webpack instruct the browser to prefetch dynamic imports. That looks ugly as hell. When Webpack sees this comment, it adds it to your document head. So it's going to prefetch it for you. It's cool. With this, the browser will automatically load this JavaScript into the cache so it's ready ahead of time. Change is minimal, but pull up the dev tools to make sure it's loading properly. You'll need to enable the cache to see it working. To place common modules in the same chunk. This is good for components which you want loaded together in the same chunk to reduce multiple requests. You can play around with this in the code splitting. Okay, this should be a relatively short one. So import. You can then use magic comments to have Webpack. Put that into the React lazy load. When it sees it, it adds it to your document's head. Prefetch this. Let's put this back here and then import this and then Webpack prefetch. close that and open this in an isolated page. Let's open the dev tools. Do we need coverage? Well, first off, let's check the head and let's see if that prefetch is there. Yeah, that's cool. So at least that's working. Shouldn't need. Does that mean I don't need this? Like, do I still need to lazy load? Where's the cache? I never remember where it is. Oh man, I never remember where this is. Settings, disable. In history. Browsing data. Just making sure there's nothing too embarrassing in my history. Sure, it's in here. Oh, amazing. Disable cache. There we go. Ah, it was off. I said need to uncheck it, right? You'll need to uncheck the disable cache button. That's weird that that was unchecked. I would have thought I would have had that. Anyway. Browser will automatically load this into the browser cache so it's ready ahead of time. Pull up the dev tools to make sure it's loading properly. So it should come in last then, because it's a prefetch. So if this didn't have the prefetch, whenever this document loads, it'll start executing this head, and then if this was just a regular script, it would block this being rendered until this had been complete. So I would imagine if we look at this, this is showing everything that's been executed. Let's take a look at the waterfall. So it loads everything else, and then it loads 3 and 4 at the end. And it's served from the prefetch cache. Let's have a quick look at what that does. When does that actually load? Unlike DNS, we're actually requesting and downloading that and storing it in the cache. This is dependent on a number of conditions. This prefetching can be ignored by the browser. I think that's why we're using Webpack. Firefox will only prefetch resources when the browser is idle. Yeah, so it's when it's not in a render cycle. Oh man, tumbling down the rabbit hole here. Pre-rendering. It's cool. Prefetching. All right, cool. Well, I mean, it works. I mean, I'm not entirely sure how it works. What's on the coverage? Let's give that one more go. I've still not found like a great use for this yet. Let's just take that off. We shouldn't need these now. And yeah, this is the part I don't get. It's going to prefetch this, so I should never. Let's just swap that back to lazy load. So this should now work, right? Oh. What are we using? Globe. Let's use the lazy one for now. This should now work. That's cool. Splits that and just enter the cache to make sure we're not breaking anything. That now loads it. If it goes to network. Why didn't I grab that from the cache? Got 3 and 4. Ah, there we go. It is working. Prefetch from cache. So we don't see the loading here. Let me just empty the cache and then I'm going to throttle this just to make sure. So let's put it on slow and empty this. So we should see it coming in here. It's going to load all the main JavaScript first. Very slowly. Maybe I'll select fast 3G next time. Let's just select that now. Oh, it's loaded now. Cool. Oh, that loads twice, which is interesting. I imagine it loads twice because I'm prefetching it. And I'm also lazy loading it. Let's comment this out. This isn't going to work now because I don't have this globe component. So imagine chart component needs charting library. It displays a loading indicator when rendered and instantly does an on-demand loading of this. Using it incorrectly can hurt performance. Awesome. Assuming the page chunk is smaller and it finishes faster, the page will be displayed with a loading indicator. Given that this would actually be detrimental to the performance, I'm actually just going to watch the video on this one. I mean, I've got it to work, right? I can get it to prefetch and then it's available in the document head. I just want to sit and make sure that this is being applied correctly. The code split, I think I've watched this. So what's that? 4 minutes. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to watch 2 videos. So I'm going to be off mic for about 7 minutes. First one I'm going to watch is this Webpack Magic Comments, because I don't fully understand it. Let's just throw that blocker up. And then I'm just going to watch the coverage tool, because I need to know what the hell that's actually doing. So I'll be off mic for 5-6 minutes. quite a few videos there. And my dog going absolutely bananas. So I managed to retain most of it, I think. Alright, lazy globe's not defined. The reason it was not defined was I could stick that in there, give myself the globe, and just change that to globe. Boom. That should be good. Nice. Alright, exercise 2, we're going to move on to use memo. I'm going to open this on an isolated, let me close this out. I'm going to open this on an isolated page, whack open the dev tools, let's keep that for now, keep the coverage tool. Let's go to the network tab. React hooks are amazing, but being able to put all the logic and state management within a function component allows for mind-blowing composability. The limitation is that calculations performed within the render will be performed every single render, regardless of whether they change. Yeah, so every time this re-renders, this will be recalculated. If the parent re-renders, we'll call calculate distance every render. So we use memo, which will only calculate the distance initially, and then we'll only recalculate it whenever either of the values change. Otherwise, we'll use a memoized version of it. Yep. In the example above, these are dependencies. And React knows, yeah. All right, so we have a menu component here that's calling get items every render. This function is super slow because it's attempting to sort thousands of items based on the user's filtered input. Your job is to improve the performance by wrapping get items in a memoization function. To observe the performance problem, open the performance tab, which I think I've, oh, there we go. Performance tab. Click the settings gear and set CPU to 6 times slowdown. Settings, CPU, 6 times slowdown. Select any item from the drop down. Click record to start recording. Okay, so let's choose Edna. Yep. Click the record circle to start recording. Oh, I'll probably have to do this within a short space of time. Then click on force re-render and click the record circle again. Okay, so city, record, force re-render, unrecord. Select an item, record, force re-render, unrecord. Alright, cool. Where's the record? Here? Oh, Control E. I have interest. Can I... And then I stop it with it. Let's delete that. What happens if I hit this? Can I still stop it? Ah, okay. Let's delete that. Okay, I'm gonna select and open. It's not Control E. It is Control E. What? Let's just do it manually then. Select an item, hit record, force a re-render, press on record. That looks fun. You'll notice that get items was called when it should not have been, and it took a long time to run. Your goal is to make it so getItems is only called whenever the filter changes. So we've picked something and then forced a re-render, which is recalculating these results when it doesn't need to. So sit here. Task. So here's getItems. Oh, I've also got that blocker. I always forget to take that off. Let's try that again. Let's clear it. Maybe I don't need to do it as quickly as before. Started profiling. Force a re-render. Stop. This one seems fine. Gotta take a look at the code. Exercise 2. So we have the app here. Force re-render. It's going to be a hook that's going to re-render. What is that doing out of interest? It's just the util. So I think this is going to be a really quick fix, right? Because I think we just want to use memo here, which is going to be a callback function which executes getItems with the current input value. That's going to be the function, and then our dependency array is going to be only rerun this if the input value changes. So if we get Henderson here. So let's clear this. Oh, what was that? Start profile. Ah, that's cool. Didn't know that. Okay. So I'm going to select somewhere. I'm going to force a... Oh, I didn't hit that. I'm tired. Let's let that reload. Select an item, hit OK, start recording, force a re-render, and then stop recording. So we have that initial long task, but we don't see it being repeated. So we can see that getItems isn't called again. How do I move this? Is it control? No. Shift. Okay, so that makes it larger. Alt. So where is getItems actually called here? So we have Natalia here. If I clear this, start recording, and then change the value of it, and then stop. Then it should call get items again. Yeah, there we go. Because the input's changed. So it's going to recall this. Which is cool. Let's just clear it. Just make sure this is working. I'm going to... Oh, let's stop. Let's actually get it. Let's just start from the beginning. Let's select it. That's going to come in. I'm going to force a re-render. And then stop it. Let's try and make this a bit more readable. It's only ever called the once. How can I zoom that in? There we go. Ooh, not like that. So where's the initial get items called? Gotta be on this, right? There we go. Come along here. Test. Let's move. I've no idea what that's called. So they're just going to be click handlers. At least it works. I suppose for this exercise I need to be able to show that it's made a marked improvement. Let's get rid of that for just now. Let's look at the summary. Let's clear that and let's copy this. Let's just put that back. Okay, so let's look at the old one. We have a menu here. We're going to select something. We've selected it. We're going to start profiling. We're going to force a re-render, and then we're going to stop. that's calling get items every time. That makes sense. So recall it here. Yeah, it's calling it here. So it's going to re-render what, 3 times, and it's calling get items each time it re-renders. It's showing app as having the long task time though. I would have thought this would have taken a long time. Anyway, at least we can see that it's being run every time. Yeah, so it's called here, here, and here. And if I do this, then we come in. A good way to time that. Let's clear it. Choose something, record, force a re-render, stop recording. Does app use combo box? Where is it? It's got to be near the start here, right? I have no idea where that function call is. So it's painting here. I know why. Because get items has already been called. That's why it's not appearing. We don't want it to appear. Let's clear that. If I remove this, and then which part of the code am I on? Yeah, so we have this memoized version, right? So if I empty the cache and reload this, let's do this. So start profiling and reload. It's going to come back in. That will call get items. If I stop that, should be a get items in here. Let's see if it works. Damn it. I was really hoping that would work. So it's got to be an easier way to find. Can I find that? There we go. Is it still going to be called get items in here? just going to watch the video for that quickly. Wrap a function, and then I'll find out where that's actually being set, because that's annoying me. Nice. I actually skipped the extra credit on this because it's not actually anything to do. Let me take this off because I always forget. So for extra credit 2, all we're doing is what we did previously, where we do npm run build. It's going to create an optimized build. Then we're going to run that in production and just show the difference in these stats. So it's the app call. Yeah, so that app's taken about 45 seconds for that actual call. Oh, I lost it. I think it was this one. Oh, scripting stuff. Yeah, so there's the 40 milliseconds. And that's on a 6-time slowdown as well. So in order to hit 60 frames a second on JavaScript, or sorry, on the browser, you need your JavaScript to be running at 16 milliseconds. So that's obviously way above because we're on 40 milliseconds here for this task. So we'd end up dropping some frames. Cool, so we have that. And then if we actually just serve that build, so we'll be on localhost 5000. Code splitting. Use memo, final, extra credit 1. Let's open the dev tools. Let's select an option, profile it, force a re-render, and then stop. And this is all going to be crazy low. So let's try and find the app. Really nothing. Oh, because it'll be production, so everything will be. That's going to be harder to find. Oop. God, it's going to be even lower. But you can now see it's dipped to like 8.2 milliseconds. Let's try and take a look here. Just realized the time, so I'm going to have to finish it up there. That's actually quite a good place to leave it. At least the production mode's considerably reduced the amount of time that it takes to compute, which is all that extra credit was doing. So I don't feel too bad about just watching the video for that and having that explained. That's cool. I'm going to leave that there since that's a good introduction to it. We finished that. So we started off with doing lazy loading and React suspense with some code splitting, and then we used the React memo somewhere. Where was it? Here. So we were only calling this once and only recalling it whenever the input value changed. So that's cool. We took a look at it in production mode and saw that even just throwing it in production mode means you're not checking for prop types and anything like that, which means you have a significantly lower profiling time. I'll be back on Thursday at 8 o'clock BST, and when I get back, then we can start on putting the get items into a web worker to increase the performance even more. But I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you all on Thursday. See ya.